This a Broadway?
I don't think so. No, this is just an original movie.
Yeah, well, no, it's a musical.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, I actually just read that before.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought it was, but I wasn't 100% sure. Did he write that? This is a fucking play on Broadway? Jesus.
Oh, 2005 it came out. You sounded disappointed. This bullshit on Broadway? What a fucking disgrace. Anyway, excuse me. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cynicism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy, Dodge.
I'm sorry, bro. It was a lot. It was going on.
Coughed up a lung and just trying to, like, nothing happened. I'm like, nigga, what?
I don't know what happened.
We ain't gonna address. That sounded dramatic.
What do you want from me, man?
Listen,
I'm just trying to get it right. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cynicism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on the movie adapted version of In the Heights.
It's a play or a musical about a young man by the name of Navi living in Washington Heights, New York City. The whole plot of the movie focuses on him trying to get back to his home in the Dominican Republic to salvage his dad's store and his family's legacy.
Of course, there are other characters involved, people close to Navi who also have their own storylines, and everybody's kind of going through their own separate trials and tribulations, which is pretty standard of any story or any play. At the core of this is also a lot of conversation around Latin American heritage and the controversy surrounding the Dreamers and them being eligible to be here. It's very Washington Heights heavy. It's a neighborhood film. It's very centered in that neighborhood and that culture. It's a close-knit community, and these characters have a lot of interminglings with each other.
Hey, let's start with Navi.
Let's fucking do it.
He's running his family's store now in Washington Heights along with his little cousin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he's just trying to get by. I mean, he's a young dude. He's trying to save enough money to finally make it back over to the Dominican Republic, as we mentioned, and salvage his family's legacy. Apparently, there was a bad storm that came through and basically destroyed, the store over in the Dominican Republic. So he wants to go over there and just restore it, reclaim his family's name. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not quite clear why he want to go back there.
I just a heritage. I think he feels that obligation with it being like all that his dad really had, Mm-hmm. I think that's why it's such a monumental thing for him.
It's definitely a sentimental tie to the land, right? Yeah. And like you said, kind of continuing his dad's legacy. But from my point of view, he spent majority of his formative years in New York City, in Washington Heights. So, he's pretty much from New York. They didn't make it quite clear, but it didn't seem like he had anything over there. I don't know if he had relatives that he knew or was close to. Dude, the store is in shambles. You gonna move over there and do what? It seemed like he had a much better thing going on here. Yeah. And I think this store that they have here in Washington Heights also carries some type of legacy. So I know what you're saying is true, but I wasn't buying it, if that makes any sense. It just wasn't a good enough reason for you to uproot your life.
That's what the movie told us.
Yeah, right.
I feel what you're saying. That's kind of the theme of the entire movie. Home is basically wherever you make it, or wherever your ties are, where the heart is, if you want to say some cheesy shit like that.
Navi is also really good friends with Benny, who's a guy that appears every once in a while. Yeah, right. First thing you think of when you see that.
Every time I see him.
Me too, man. He's a go-getter. He's out here. He's really trying to make something of himself. He works for the local dispatch, where this local businessman, he owns it. He has big dreams of making his own business or something like that one day. It won't quite clear what he wanted to do. He just said he was going to be paid.
They got plans.
Yeah. What are those plans exactly?
I don't know, but they got it.
And then I noticed, listen, man, I understand Benny, the only black dude in Washington Heights. Why every time he speak, the drums gotta be a little bit more, they just a little bit more 808-ish. All right, bro, we know he black. You ain't gotta switch up the merengue. You can vibe out to the merengue.
Who was singing his part?
He was.
He was? I ain't know that man sing.
Dog. Him and the girl Vanessa, I thought had the best voices in this movie. I was actually very surprised by the guy that played in Straight Outta Compton, that played Benny. He had a really nice voice.
Because I was thinking it was his voice. Like, that kind of sounded like him, but I was never aware that he even sang.
He had a really nice voice, and I thought that the girl Vanessa, her singing voice was actually incredible. She had a few ballads in here. Vanessa, who Navi likes,
seemingly has had a crush on this girl for quite quite some time and has never really, I guess, worked up the nerve to approach her.
I was confused by that because, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I know what it's like to be nervous to speak to a girl. I mean, that's part of the normal transition.
Right.
He said he was almost 30 years old. You telling me you still can't work up the nerve to just ask this girl out that's been there every day? You went to school with her? You got a lot of ends here.
I mean, he seemed pretty confident.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, I don't know.
Vanessa also had dreams of being a stylist. She wanted to be a fashion designer. So that comes into play later on in the movie, but that's her dream. Everybody, as we said, that's the theme of the movie. Everybody got some type of aspiration that they reaching for, and that was hers. Oh, and then you got Nina.
Who, Benny had actually had a relationship with. She came back to the city after, did she just quit school or she got kicked out of school?
She bounced. She actually just left. Some cultural and racial shock, I'm sure, going to an Ivy League college.
Yeah.
She went to, what was it, Stanford? Obviously an Ivy League college. I'm sure it's hardly anybody there that looks like her or from her background. She just didn't feel at place there. It's also seeming like the community put a lot of pressure on her. She's one of the few people, one to go to college, two to go to a Ivy League school. I think she probably is the only one for that neighborhood. So this whole neighborhood rooting for her to be,
especially her father, who was supremely disappointed at her decision to not proceed.
Yo, he won't having it. They're not in the best financial position. Obviously, he owns his business, but this is an Ivy League college. It's very expensive. So he had already sold some of his business in order to let her go for, I think, the first semester. So she was just kind of worried about him as well. And that whole thing, it was kind of crazy. Let's get to this shit. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it from a musical perspective.
Okay.
How was the music for you?
It was bad. Yes.
Okay.
The music.
Just jump right.
Let's talk about some stuff.
Okay.
All right. First things first, this movie is not well written. That's outside of the music. We just talking about the general script for the movie. Of course, I take it with a grain of salt because I know how plays are. And this is very much adapted from a play. Obviously, it originated from a play.
Yeah.
And it's very much got that play feel. Especially musicals are not heavy on script, which I understand. But when you adopt something to a movie, I feel like there needs to be some type of bridging of the gap between those two genres. It felt really all over the place in terms of the progression of the story and of the characters, honestly. You know, I've seen other musicals where it just felt like more of a linear progression of things overall. This kind of felt like a bunch of stuff happening, and then at the end, I felt like in the second half of this movie, they tried to tie it together and things started feeling more cohesive.
I did definitely enjoy the second half more so than the first half.
Yeah. The beginning of this shit was dragging. The dialogue between the characters just wasn't pulling me in and really making me like anybody. I didn't dislike anybody, but I didn't feel invested in these people.
I pretty much felt indifferently about all of them. I didn't care whether or not they met their objectives. I don't like feeling that way about the characters when I'm watching movies. I want to care about them and be invested. I mean, if he goes, he goes. If he doesn't, I don't give a shit.
Right.
If he make it home or not. But I would say this, though.
Okay.
I really do like how they wrapped the film up, though. I thought the end of this movie was the best part of the entire movie to me.
Yeah.
When he was talking to the kids and everything, and you realize he decided to stay in Washington Heights.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the best part of the movie.
Him getting Vanessa in there, you saw that coming a mile away. That was pretty clear. I didn't think all of those kids that he was telling the story to was his, but I did think a few of them, I knew at least one of the kids was his. So that wasn't really a reveal, but that was a nice twist. The fact that they weren't actually on this island and all of that, it was still his bodega and stuff like that. It's parts of this movie that I felt like were well done. And that was one part. I also really enjoyed the part with the abuela, the grandmother of the neighborhood, when she had that whole thing when she kind of transitioned to the afterlife. But let
me tell you, that death was abrupt.
She just was dead. I was like,
what she died from?
Right. Some way.
I mean, we heard she gotta take this medicine, then fuck the medicine. I'm out of here. That entire scene with her I guess transitioning into representation of heaven or whatever that was. I thought that was cool. That was a little sentimental.
Yeah, it was. That part was actually very heartfelt. And I wish that the rest of the movie was as creative as that part was, because that actually did have some type of investment in it. I wish I cared more about her character once again to really get the feels for it. But yeah, it was really well done, and the choreography and the whole metaphor surrounding all of it, and her talking about coming to this country and all that stuff. It was a lot in there. I thought that was probably one of the more better songs too in terms of just meaningfulness. The two that stood out to me the most were the one with the abuela, with the whole subway scene. I thought that was really memorable. And from a visual standpoint, it was really well done. The other one would probably be the scene where Benny and Nina was dancing on the fire escape. Very whimsical, very reminiscent of some of them old whimsical musicals you've seen, like Mary Poppins and Singing in the Rain, and it's very much old school in that aspect of it. I like the scene from the pool, but I did not like that song.
Back to that pool scene, I think that was my favorite. If I had to pick a scene that I liked the most, the pool scene was probably, like, as far as the musical numbers, it was probably like the best looking to me and the most energetic.
It's really well done from a visual standpoint, from a choreographed standpoint. It's really well done. It's the song though, man. I could not vibe with the song. Overall, these songs, the thing about these songs is this. It's a few things, but they're not memorable and they just not well written, you know, but a lot of them have
that very talky though.
Yeah, a lot of them have that talky songy quality, which is just that's not something that a lot of people gonna like. That's an acquired taste. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, it get annoying pretty quick.
Yeah, if somebody's going to watch a Broadway musical, they're gonna want to see some big dramatic voices, you know. So I know not everybody's gonna be a fan of this style of ensemble.
They were having full conversations while singing, but it wasn't even committing to the singing, more to the talking with singing in there. Where you going, girl? Oh, I'm going up the street. Up the street. Can I go with you? It was like, nigga, what? So Benny was talking to Nina. He was like, I used to bust the fire hydrants and I ran like hell. You ran like hell. I said, oh my God, these songs are not well done. Then they got fucking rapping in there. Oh my God. This is the thing. As two hip hop fans, we're here to tell you. Hip hop is amazing. In the wrong hands, it can easily be corny. Everybody want to rap. Not everybody can rap well. And because it's a lot of great rappers out here, they make it look easy that everybody can rhyme. Yes, you can rhyme, but I'm telling you, man, it's a swagger and it's a delivery that it can come across really cheesy. And
easily.
This movie got some cheesy raps in there. It definitely ain't memorable. It ain't bars. I mean, once again, it's just talky rap. Yo, my name is Snavi. I'm up the blocky, got a Dobby, and I go to Abu Dhabi.
It's very some hip hop numbers got a very dated feel to it. Like,
yes, it felt more Curtis Blow era to me, and Curtis Blow's my guy. That ain't no insult to Curtis Blow; he a legend, but it felt that throwback hip hop to me.
The way they would like some of the songs were put together, it just wasn't. They just didn't have a good flow or rhythm to them that made them stick with you.
From a musical standpoint, I just don't think that they had that type of rhythm and structure, like you were saying, to even get in your memory for real. They just don't have that catchy feel. You know what I'm saying? Then when you add in the songy, talky element, it's hard to, who gonna remember? Yeah, I was up the block and I was running to the store. And it's just like, who's gonna, like, what's memorable about that? It's no melodies. That's what's missing. It's no melodic elements here, man. Even in the choruses, for real. For what it's worth, I did think the acting in this movie was solid. You know, once again, we talking about an adaptation from a play, so take that as you will. I don't know if that's everybody's cup of tea, but for what it was worth, I did think the performances, especially in some of the more emotional beats of the movie, were done pretty well. The girl Vanessa stood out to me as just overall a performer. I thought as a singer and an actress, I thought she did really good. And the dude's Navi was good too, man. You had some guest appearances in there. You had Dasha Polanco from Orange is the New Black.
Thick.
Lord.
Swanging.
That been packing some heavy cargo in her life, boy. I'm telling you.
It was a lady in here too from the original Rent. The lady, the lead lady at the salon.
At the salon?
Yeah, I forget that.
Oh man. Oh, that's interesting. Very cool. One of the girls playing Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Another one of the girls at the salon, the other girl, she's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I recognize her. Mark Anthony, probably the most recognizable. I love when they put the most recognizable people in the least
just a
significant role. Right. Yeah, he just was there. The uncle had minimal lines. Like, man, he really got a check for this, bro. They really probably cut this man a nice check.
Right.
To just come in here and say probably 2 words. I guess is the last thing, bro. This movie, this how you know that this is a play. This nigga was pretend broke. This man bought a ticket to the DR. Was all set to go the morning that he was going to leave. Came to the bodega. Vanessa had decorated it with her whole fashion line, whatever. This nigga abandoned a plane ticket. He's supposed to be broke. That he bought to the DR and just said, yo, Vanessa, I'm in love. I ain't going to the DR. Yo, nigga. What about the money that you spent?
That man was ready to give up the whole check,
bro,
the whole $90K.
He gave it to. That was the thing. That was another thing. I'll get to that in a moment. I don't condone what he did. That's crazy. And you know this nigga didn't get the refundable tickets. Niggas ain't paying that extra $50. They gonna just gamble with it. Didn't he buy the place in the Dominican? He's out a lot of money that he not recouping in this. I think he bought that shed or whatever the fuck. What are you doing?
He just trying to get home. But he was already there.
Right. The end of this movie was actually I thought it was heartfelt and well done. But it didn't conclude enough story. I'm going to tell you, the Navi and Vanessa storyline by that point was probably the least one that I was invested. I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened to his cousin, yo? Like, he gave old boy the $96,000 lottery ticket.
Out, bro.
Then, first of all, get some prices, man. Don't just get this nigga 96. Yo, is this enough? The full 90,000?
Right.
Like, see, get some price points.
It's only for take the shit. Take it all.
It's an immigration case, nigga. He not fighting a murder. What the fuck? He gave $100,000 like this nigga was trying to go to jail for life or something. Then we didn't figure out what happened with Nina. She left. She never came back. Benny, did he ever start a business? Who gives a fuck? Bro. This movie over 2 hours, we ain't get no resolution. Just Vanessa and Navi that lived happily ever after. His cousin and got deported. But they in the Bronx dancing in Washington Heights, dancing and shit.
In the Heights was probably about what I expected. I mean, I've seen better musicals. Of the ones that I've seen, this ain't nowhere near my favorite. I can say that confidently. No. But I thought it was entertaining for the most part. I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I appreciated what it represented, if nothing else. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
I was disappointed in the musical numbers. I will say that. I thought that I was going to be able to enjoy the songs a little bit more, especially with this being over a 2-hour movie and majority of that being music. For me to not really like any of the songs is kind of a problem. The acting is decent enough. It's a lot of charisma in this movie, and that's kind of what this movie got going for. It's got good casting. It's got a lot of heart. The message at the center of it, I actually could get with, because a lot of it just is talking about your dreams, and then also how they just tied that into some of the more serious topics around immigration and things like that. This movie is colorful, it's bright, it's brimming, good dance numbers. For me, I'm gonna probably give this a 6. I can't probably rewatch this again. It's just very long and the music is just not good enough.
The only song I can remember is In the Heights.
That's the one.
And that's because the trailer.
That's the one, right. In the Heights.
Thank y'all for tuning in to our review of the musical In the Heights. I hope y'all enjoyed that. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you have any suggested reviews for any content, don't forget to drop a comment below.
Absolutely. And if you guys have seen In the Heights, please let us know what you thought. How'd you feel about the musical numbers? How'd you feel about the acting overall? How'd you feel about the visual aspects as well? And if you've seen the on-Broadway play of In the Heights,
great point.
How closely does this movie mirror that? Are the musical numbers the same? Is there some differences? Yeah, we're curious.
Yeah, that's a great question.
We appreciate y'all, man.
Thanks.
Peace.
Peace.